All right, good morning, everybody. It is day number 4 on my grandpa and I's Colorado/Southwest road trip. Why don't you tell the people where we're going today?
Well, as far as I know, we're going to Pikes Peak.
Yep, and shout out to my grandpa for giving us a preview here with his shirt that I got him when I went about 5 years ago. So, we're going to be pretty high in elevation, aren't we?
Yeah, about 14,000 feet.
Yep, but we got to make a pit stop up ahead in Colorado Springs, and I'll let you know what that is when we get there. So, you ready to hit the road?
Yeah, let's do it.
My grandpa and I made our way back over to Interstate 25, and then we drove about 45 minutes north from Pueblo up towards Colorado Springs. One of my favorite views along I-25 coming into Colorado Springs is how it bypasses downtown Colorado Springs, and then you just have an awesome view of Pikes Peak there. And it was just an awesome precursor to what we were going to be seeing later that day as we made our way up the mountain. Our first order of business was to get some lunch when we got into Colorado Springs, and my grandpa and I made our way over to Whataburger, which was just recently opened here in Colorado, I believe the previous year. All right, Grandpa, where are we right now?
Whataburger.
Yep. So I kind of feel bad about our experience at Whataburger in Las Vegas because we kind of had to go through a maze to get to it. But, here in Colorado, they're just normal Whataburgers that are full restaurants with drive-thrus and everything like that, just like they are in Texas. In fact, these Whataburgers here in Colorado are brand new. I believe most of them opened within the last year. So this is a very new addition and a very welcome addition to Colorado, if you ask me.
Yeah, they're good. The one in Vegas is a nightmare, I tell you. It's good, though. That was my first experience with Whataburger, and they're good.
Yep. Kind of nice to see what an actual one looks like, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Well, would you like to go inside?
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Believe it or not, the first time I ever experienced Whataburger was on my 2021 road trip to Texas. Believe it or not, the first time I actually tried Whataburger wasn't in Texas, but was actually in Phoenix, Arizona, so I kind of cheated myself a little bit there, but they actually started in Texas, I believe in the 1940s. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but it's a pretty popular burger and fast food chain in the southern United States, and they just recently came to Colorado here, I believe in 2023. They are only in Colorado Springs, but they are expanding down into Pueblo, and it is unknown whether or not they're going to expand into the Denver metro area in the future. All right, so I got the Hatch Green Chili Burger here at Whataburger. I've been waiting since we left Las Vegas to try this, so. Don't get me wrong, folks. I love In-N-Out Burger, but there's just something about Whataburger. Maybe it's because I eat In-N-Out like almost every day, but I don't know. Whataburger just really hits the spot, and I'm so glad that they're here in Colorado now. As of 2024, when we're recording this, Whataburger is only in the Colorado Springs area, but they're actually going to be opening up some Whataburgers down south in Pueblo very soon. So I'm just happy that they're here in Colorado. Unfortunately, they're not in the Denver area yet, but I'm sure they'll start expanding up there maybe sooner than later, hopefully. But 10 out of 10, I love me some Whataburger. All right, we'll see you guys down the road when we start heading up towards Pikes Peak. As we left Whataburger and began making our way back towards Pikes Peak in downtown Colorado Springs, my grandpa and I stopped at a scenic pullout here along Interstate 25, which provided great views back towards Pikes Peak, as well as provided some great information plaques about the Colorado Springs area. Of course, the scenic pullout here also is right in front of the United States Air Force Academy, and you can often see people flying planes here as they're training to fight in the United States Air Force. I'll be honest, I'm a little jealous of the people that live here in Colorado Springs because they just have amazing views of Pikes Peak and the surrounding mountains here as a backdrop for their city. Pikes Peak is definitely dominating the skyline of Colorado Springs here, and it just really stands out because it's just a 14,000 foot mountain that doesn't really have any other tall mountains surrounding it. It's a pretty awesome view here with the Air Force Academy with Pikes Peak in the background.
Yeah, it is. It's just a fantastic view right here of the whole area right around here. It's nice. It's really nice.
I really love the geographic setting of the Colorado Springs area right here.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool.
That plane just took off there in the background, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there it goes.
And me and Grandpa are going to be on top of that mountain there very shortly.
Yes, we are.
Guessing it's going to be pretty cold if it's already cold down here at this elevation, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be near freezing up there.
It's in the mid-50s down here in Colorado Springs, and the forecast up there is 43 degrees, but it says it feels like 38, so...
Yeah, so if it says it's 38, it'll be freezing. The wind, pretty good wind down here right now.
And my grandpa's already cold down here at this elevation, so I can't wait to see how he's going to be up there.
Oh, I'll be fine.
All right, ready to hit the road?
Yeah, let's go.
Before heading to the top of Pikes Peak, I did a little bit of a detour and went through Garden of the Gods to show what my grandpa was going to be seeing later in the day when we visited this awesome park here in downtown Colorado Springs just later in the day. I gotta say that Garden of the Gods is definitely one of the most unique geographic features of Colorado Springs and just really the United States in general, because it's inside of a big city and it's just really cool that it's just free to public access and everything like that. I highly recommend checking this place out if you're in the Colorado Springs area. After driving through Garden of the Gods, we made our way over to US 24, which brought us up to the Pikes Peak Highway, and I gotta say, the views along this road here of Pikes Peak as you begin to head up into the mountains from Colorado Springs is just absolutely breathtaking. The mountain just kept getting bigger and bigger the closer we were getting to it. Be sure to be on the lookout for the left turn there off US 24 as you come into the town of Cascade to begin your journey up the Pikes Peak Highway. It should be noted that the Pikes Peak Highway is a toll road, and as of 2024, it costs $15 per person in your vehicle to go to the top of Pikes Peak. It is not per vehicle, it is how many people are in your vehicle. So in the case of my grandpa and I, it was $30 for both of us to drive to the top of Pikes Peak, and trust me, the $30 is definitely worth it because the views will only get better the higher in elevation you go. I had this planned out to where we were basically going to be stopping at as many scenic pullouts as we could when we were driving up the mountain, and then of course when we were coming down the mountain we weren't going to be stopping for anything at all but just to film the entire drive downhill, and you guys can actually see that drive here on my YouTube channel, so be sure to check out that video whenever it's released here on YouTube. Our first stop here along the Pikes Peak Highway was around mile marker 6, where we had a scenic overlook of the Crystal Creek Reservoir. The Crystal Creek Reservoir is 136 acres in surface area, has a shore length of just over 3 miles, and has a surface elevation of about 9,230 feet above sea level. The reservoir and surrounding Pike National Forest land offers opportunities for boating, fishing, camping, and hunting. My grandpa and I were driving up to Pikes Peak on the first day of October here in 2024, and the fall colors here at this elevation were basically at their peak. It was a beautiful sight to see. After spending some time there at that scenic pullout, we literally drove about a minute up the road and crossed the Crystal Creek Dam there to the Visitor Center, which is one of 2 visitor centers here along the Pikes Peak Highway. And it offers amazing views back towards Pikes Peak and just the surrounding landscape, so we had to stop here as well and just take it all in. To say the views were even better here at the Visitor Center would be a complete understatement. The views here of the crystal clear waters reflecting off Pikes Peak there in the background is just an awesome sight to see, and was definitely a big highlight when driving the Pikes Peak Highway here up to the top of Pikes Peak here in Colorado. I must say that my grandpa and I really had the perfect weather conditions as we were driving up to the top of Pikes Peak here in early October, considering that this is the time of the year when the seasons are rapidly changing here in the Rocky Mountains. The weather was about 10 degrees warmer than it normally would be this time of the year, but my grandpa certainly wasn't complaining because he's pretty sensitive to the cold. My grandpa and I spent about 15 minutes here just taking in all the views and then of course reading the various information plaques that they had on display here at the Visitor Center. After spending some time there at the Crystal Creek Reservoir, we got back on the road and just started climbing up in elevation as we made our way to the top of Pikes Peak. We didn't really stop for anything between there and the top of Pikes Peak. We just rolled the windows down and just took in all the nice, clean, thin air. And oh boy, the higher in elevation we got, we definitely started feeling the thinner air up there at the higher elevations. Let me tell you, I was doing fine, but I was just a little bit worried about my grandpa because he does have mild COPD, but he did just fine and I was so proud of him. So believe it or not, this was actually my second time going to the top of Pikes Peak here in Colorado. The first time I went to the top of Pikes Peak was back in 2019 when I went up to the top of the mountain with my friend Jessica, who lives in nearby Canyon City, Colorado. It was a really fun experience, and unfortunately I just wasn't really focused on filming the experience at the time because I just really wanted to spend time with my friend and just really, spend some quality time with her, and she understood that. She knows I have a YouTube channel and everything like that, but I just really wanted to focus on spending time with her, so that was just an experience that was left off camera, and unfortunately I wasn't able to film it for you guys. But here in 2024, I'm definitely making up for that now, so I hope you guys are just really enjoying this footage here that my grandpa and I are capturing as we make our way up to the top of Pikes Peak, and I'm so happy that you guys are just watching and going along this road trip with us. We really enjoy making these types of videos for you guys. Alright folks, it's at this point in the drive where the steep grades, sharp curves, and steep drop-offs really start to take over here, and you might also notice that there's no more trees here at this elevation because we are above the timberline, which is approximately 11,500 feet here in this part of Colorado. The alpine tundra features some of the harshest climate found in Colorado and the United States. Plants here tend to grow very low to the ground and have a very short growing season, typically between 6 to 10 weeks during the peak summer months. Colorado has the highest mean elevation of any state in the United States, and it's one of the very few states that you can easily access the alpine tundra by many roads here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. As a matter of fact, the Pikes Peak Highway here, as it climbs to the summit of Pikes Peak, is the second highest paved road in the United States. The only road that is higher, by only 15 feet might I add, is the Mount Blue Sky Scenic Byway, which climbs to the top of Mount Blue Sky, formerly known as Mount Evans. As a matter of fact, I have a video from 2021 when I drove to the top of Mount Evans, now known as Mount Blue Sky. So be sure to check that out on my YouTube channel if you're interested in watching it. At long last, we finally made it to the summit of Pikes Peak. My grandpa and I spent about an hour up here just taking in the beautiful sights and sounds being on top of America's mountain, as well as checking out the various information plaques that they had inside and outside. My grandpa and I parked right next to a plaque that stated the song America the Beautiful, which was inspired by Catherine Lee Bates' 1893 visit to Pikes Peak here in Colorado. America the Beautiful remains an important cultural and patriotic contribution to the country she loved and is a lasting testament to the wild beauty of Pikes Peak and the surrounding landscape. My grandpa and I spent a good 20 minutes up here at the summit of Pikes Peak just taking in the incredible views in every direction. One thing that's really nice about Pikes Peak is that it's a 14,000 foot mountain that's not surrounded by any other tall mountains within its vicinity, so the views are absolutely incredible. To the north, you can look up towards Denver and some of the other 14ers up there in the northern part of the Front Range and the Front Range Urban Corridor. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too hazy for us to see Denver from our visit up here at Pikes Peak here in October of 2024 due to some wildfires that were burning up north towards Wyoming. Pikes Peak is named after American explorer Zebulon Pike, who attempted to reach the summit in 1806. Unfortunately, he was unsuccessful. They have plaques up here commemorating Zebulon Pike and the mountain that's named after him. Of course, when you look out to the east from Pikes Peak, you just get incredible views out towards Colorado Springs and the Colorado Springs metropolitan area. On exceptionally clear days, it's been reported that you can see as far out as Oklahoma and Kansas out there in the Great Plains. Even though it was a little bit hazy when my grandpa and I were at the summit of Pikes Peak here in October of 2024, the views out towards Colorado Springs were just absolutely incredible. It's really amazing just to see how far you can see on top of this mountain right here. It just feels like you can see out forever. One nice thing about Pikes Peak is at the end of the parking lot, they actually have a USGS marker that officially marks the summit of Pikes Peak, America's mountain. It's really cool how you can actually go over there and stand on top of the actual summit of Pikes Peak, and my grandpa and I went over there and waited our turn to get our photo opportunities. Another thing I like is how they have the name of Pikes Peak and what the local Native Americans call it in their language. All right, Grandpa, where are you standing right now?
I'm standing on the top of Pikes Peak, America's mountain.
How does it feel?
Pretty awesome.
They have plenty of information plaques that talk about what life is like up here at the summit of Pikes Peak at over 14,000 feet in elevation. After spending about 20 minutes outside taking in the views, the winds were really getting to us up there at the summit, so we decided to head inside the visitor center that they have there at the summit, and we decided to check out what's inside. One thing I really like is that they have the old summit sign on display in here. I believe they put the new sign up when they redesigned this area in 2022. That's the old sign from when I was up here in 2019.
Oh, that one there?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
After we made our way inside, we proceeded to go down the stairs where the main exhibits, gift shop, restaurant, and restrooms were. It was just really nice to be inside away from the wind because it was about 44 degrees at the summit, but it was actually closer to 36 with the wind chill factor. While my grandpa was using the restroom, I decided to take a few minutes and just to explore around the area there where the cafe and gift shop were, as well as check out some of the exhibits. So it was just really nice taking it all in. I believe they redesigned this area right here between 2021 and 2023 because this area was completely redesigned from the last time I was here in 2019, and I must say that this new and improved version is much better and much more catering to the visitors and customers as well. One thing I will say though is that everything in the gift shop is really expensive, and I was honestly a little bit disappointed because it seems like they just really kind of nickel and dime you and just rip you off there just because it's a big tourist attraction. So just be prepared to spend a pretty penny if you go to the gift shop there. After my grandpa was done using the restroom, we made our way over to the cafe and gift shop where we got some donuts and some snacks just to kind of tide us over there because we were definitely building up an appetite at being over 14,000 feet up there. And I must say, the cafe is definitely a lot more reasonably priced than the gift shop. So they're pretty famous for their donuts here.
That's what I hear. Yeah, you were telling me that.
Well, you ready to dig in?
Yeah, let's try them. See.
Cheers. They are well known for their donuts here at Pikes Peak, and I must say that the donuts definitely lived up to expectations. After spending about 5 minutes there in the cafe, we just made our way over to where all of the exhibits are, which give a lot of information about Pikes Peak and what life is like up there at the summit at over 14,000 feet. And they also have really great information there just about the climate and everything that goes on there at Pikes Peak, as well as like a lot of information and history on the Pikes Peak Highway itself, which I definitely appreciate. And I definitely incorporated a lot of the information that I learned up there at the summit of Pikes Peak from these exhibits into my actual driving video of driving down from the summit of Pikes Peak. So be sure to check out that video here, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview of that video here in just a moment. I must say, they did a really nice job here with redesigning the Summit Visitor Center up here at the top of Pikes Peak, and it's definitely worth a visit. Just like I said, if you're going to come up here and spend money, just be prepared to spend a lot of money, especially if you go to the gift shop. But other than that, the experiences up here were just absolutely amazing. All right, so what did you think of the summit of Pikes Peak?
Well, it's like being on top of the world up here, I'll tell you. You got views for a long distance. It's too bad it's kind of smoky up here right now from some Wyoming fires, but you can still see quite a bit.
Trust me, it's a lot better than when I was here in 2020. You couldn't see this good.
Yeah, I believe that, yeah.
But yep, ready to head down the mountain?
Yeah, I guess we are. It's time to go.
Hopefully we don't lose our brakes.
We won't.
All right, let's go. Like I said earlier, I'll have a full video of my grandpa and I's drive down from the summit of Pikes Peak here on YouTube, so be sure to check that video out. It's just absolutely amazing, and the views as you descend down from the summit of Pikes Peak are just absolutely breathtaking. It should be noted, as you descend down Pikes Peak, there is a mandatory brake check station around the timberline at approximately 11,500 feet. And if your brakes are too hot, they will make you stop and let your brakes cool off before you continue your descent down the mountain. It is recommended that you put your car in low gear as you descend down Pikes Peak to put less strain on your brakes as you make your way down, and you will lose more than half of your elevation by the time you get back to US 24 from the summit of Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak sits 14,115 feet above sea level, and by the time you reach US 24, you'll be about 7,000 feet above sea level. It should be noted that the Pikes Peak Highway here is the second highest paved road in North America, second only to the Mount Blue Sky Scenic Byway, which is only 15 feet higher than the Pikes Peak Highway here in Colorado. I've had the honor and privilege to do both drives, and I must say that both of them are very unique, and they are definitely nail biters, especially if you are afraid of heights or roads that have no guardrails. But if you choose to drive down this scenic road, you will definitely not be disappointed, as the views are absolutely breathtaking. After safely making our way down Pikes Peak and not losing our brakes in the process, my grandpa and I headed down to US 24 back to Colorado Springs, where we spent the rest of the day exploring Garden of the Gods, which is hands down one of my favorite urban parks here in the United States, and the best part is that it's absolutely free to visit. The first thing we did when we got to Garden of the Gods was head over to Balanced Rock, which is one of the most popular attractions here in Garden of the Gods, and for good reason.
Welcome to Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
All right, my grandpa and I survived Pikes Peak, and we didn't lose our brakes coming down the mountain. So what were your overall thoughts on the Pikes Peak experience, driving up the mountain, driving down the mountain, and then seeing everything that there is to see up there? It's been a long time, I know, since you've been up there, so.
Yeah, it has been a long time. As far as the drive, you gotta be alert. I mean, going up isn't so bad. It is, but there's a lot of switchbacks and stuff, so you can't be screwing around, is what I'm trying to say. As far as the going up there, it's been a long time since I have been there. It's amazing. It is amazing. We had a beautiful day, blue skies. The only problem was we had smoke because there's wildfires in Wyoming.
Yeah, it wasn't that thick though, so you could still see pretty good.
You could, yeah. But I was there when I was real young, but I don't remember anything, you know. So. Now I'm 75, and then going back, it was amazing. Everybody should go if you get a chance.
All right, so right after Pikes Peak, tell the people what we're doing now.
Now we're in the Garden of the Gods.
Yep. And what's our first stop here in Garden of the Gods?
It's Balanced Rock. It's right behind us here.
Yep. So this is a national natural landmark, and it's completely free to visit here in Colorado Springs and gets about 4 million visitors a year. So this is quite a very unique place here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and what's unique is that the city, it's a free thing for the public.
Yeah.
You don't get ripped off like every other place you go to.
Yeah, like at Pikes Peak.
Yeah, like at Pikes Peak.
Man, those gift shop prices there at Pikes Peak were ridiculous.
Yeah, if you want to buy a sweatshirt, it's $50.
For the kids.
For the kids.
For the adults, it's 60.
Yeah, so make sure you bring your credit cards or your money.
All right, ready to do some exploring here in Garden of the Gods?
Yeah, let's do it.
Balanced Rock has always been one of the more popular attractions here in Garden of the Gods, and it was so popular that when personal cameras became more widely available during the 1890s, a man named Paul Gork purchased the land and began charging people 25 cents to take photos of the rock, which is equal to roughly $6.50 in today's money. Nowadays, people don't even have to pay to take photos of the rock, and it's a very popular spot to take photos of people trying to push the rock over or trying to lift it up with their back. And it's just really awesome to see such an awesome formation like this here just outside of the downtown area of Colorado Springs. It's just really awesome that geologic wonders like this exist, and just makes for really awesome photo opportunities here in Colorado Springs and Garden of the Gods. All right, so what do you think of Balanced Rock here in Garden of the Gods?
It's pretty neat, man. It's a neat formation. It's been here a long time.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no earthquakes anytime soon.
Yeah, really. The big old thing would end up down the road.
You ready to go explore more of Garden of the Gods?
Yeah, let's go check it out. This place is really neat.
After visiting Balanced Rock, my grandpa and I made our way over to the Garden of the Gods trading post. which is the oldest and largest gift shop in Colorado. The trading post was opened in 1929 and has expanded over the years and was originally 2,000 square feet when it first opened in 1929, and by 1979 it was over 25,000 square feet. The store features many souvenirs such as t-shirts, sweaters, mugs, magnets, hats that are all themed to Colorado and Garden of the Gods itself. And the trading post also features a number of jewelry, sculptures, and pottery from local Native American tribes in the area. The trading post gets over 400,000 visitors per year and even has a small cafe area. After spending some time there at Balanced Rock and Garden of the Gods trading post, my grandpa and I began to make our way on the loop road towards the central area of Garden of the Gods, where we began to do more exploring there for roughly the next hour. It's just really awesome how this place is just so accessible to the public and provides many parking spaces all around the park and just many miles of walking trails all over the place. My grandpa and I made our way over to the Perkins Central Garden Trail, which is paved and is very easily accessible and is even wheelchair accessible. As we left behind the car and began walking out on the trail, they do have restrooms there if you need to use them, and we were just really overtaken by these awesome rock formations on all sides. And I really liked how I was able to capture the sun poking through this hole in the rock right here. I thought that was just really awesome. While most of the rocks in Garden of the Gods do have that red color to them, they do have these like more white or gray colored rocks as well on the opposite side of the park. Man, I just love all these colorful rock formations. You got the red ones behind me over here, and then behind my grandpa here, you got these more gray colored ones.
Yeah, it's interesting to have that, see that, because, you know, everything in here is the red rock, the red oxide rock type, and then you got this one, whatever this is here, sitting here, all by itself in the park here. It's weird.
This is a really cool place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I really like this. This is really, really awesome.
There's no shortage of information plaques here along this trail that provide great information about the park itself and some of the events that go on here, as well as some of the wildlife that you can encounter here in Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods became a national natural landmark in 1971 as the site possesses exceptional value as an illustration of the nation's natural heritage and contributions to a better understanding of the environment. Garden of the Gods was officially turned over to the city of Colorado Springs in 1909 by the children of Charles Eliot Perkins, as his last wish was that the park to be kept open free to the public for the fulfillment of its natural beauty and inspiring natural landscapes. This particular formation here is known as the Sentinel Spires and is popular because you can literally feel like you're inside of a cave there. How does it feel in there?
Like I'm in a hole in a cave.
Does it feel pretty cool?
Yeah.
Prior to the arrival of European settlement, many Native American tribes visited and settled around the Garden of the Gods area, including the Apache, Cheyenne, Comanche, Lakota, Shoshone, and Ute people. These particular formations here in Garden of the Gods are called the Cathedral Spires. Garden of the Gods is open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. from May 1st to October 31st, and from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. from November 1st to April 30th. Many of these Native American tribes developed traditions and cultural events centered around these formations as they were considered sacred to the tribes. The first non-native settler to purchase land around Garden of the Gods was Charles Eliot Perkins when he purchased 480 acres of land around present-day Garden of the Gods in 1879. One thing to note is that rock climbing is permitted inside Garden of the Gods, however, you need a permit. You can acquire permits from the City of Colorado Springs website. I was first introduced to Garden of the Gods in 2019 when I came here with my friend Jessica, the same day we went to the top of Pikes Peak in Colorado. And it was just really awesome that I got to visit this place here with my grandpa and show it to him for the first time as well. This particular formation is known as the Three Graces, which are 3 towering red sandstone rock pillars that stand close together. It's formations like these that make this park a popular spot for photography, whether you're an amateur or professional photographer. Garden of the Gods is easily one of my favorite places to visit in Colorado, especially when I'm in the Colorado Springs area. And I hope this video sheds some light and brings more people to this area too to check out these awesome formations.
All right, Grandpa, what did you think of Garden of the Gods here in Colorado Springs?
I think it's really interesting. It's a really interesting place. I've never seen anything like it. It's like this rock formation right in one little small area, and nothing else is around it. It's like it sprung up out of the ground. I don't know. Or fell from the sky, one or the other. Maybe it is the Garden of the Gods. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just really cool that it's inside a major city like Colorado Springs, and it's free to visit.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, it's really nice.
So you highly recommend coming here if you're in the Colorado Springs area?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's a great place. It really is.
How would you rate this place out of 10?
For me, I give it a 10.
There's nothing else really like it, is there?
No, there isn't.
And that's going to conclude this video here, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video of my grandpa and I's time here at Pikes Peak and Garden of the Gods here in Colorado. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have an amazing day. And take care, everyone. Stay tuned to the next adventure. We will see you next time.